Bangladesh is on the boil. While the president, army, political parties, and protesting student leaders keep asking for peace, more than 24 hours since Sheikh Hasina resigned as the Prime Minister and left the country, the situation is far from resolved. In fact, it's still burning. The big brother next door, India, watches with caution while providing safe house for the ousted Prime Minister once again.
There was no let-up in the public agitation, but will naturally remain deeply concerned till law and order is visibly restored. Our border guarding forces have also been instructed to be exceptionally alert in view of this complex situation.
Train services between India and Bangladesh have been suspended. Trucks and people stand in line for entry into Bangladesh. Some to return home to find their loved ones. Some to deliver essentials. India and Bangladesh, the two countries with centuries of shared history, are stuck in a relationship of love, hatred, cooperation and rivalry. It's a time-tested relation that's once again put under scanner with the turmoil to emerge as neighbors. Enhanced security, every truck thoroughly checked. Even the drivers and helpers are not being spared. These are the scenes from the largest land port in South Asia. Petropol, located just 80 kilometers from Kolkata, accounts for nearly 30% of the land-based trade between India and Bangladesh. An average of 22 lakh people cross this border post each year. Since the silent coup in Bangladesh and the overthrow of Sheikh Hasina as the Prime Minister, this post is on high alert.
Goods carriers with permits are being allowed. It's being frisked heavily at the Petropol border over here in West Bengal's North 24 Parganas. Now, it's a regular process of frisking, but what we see over here is it's a high level of frisking that is happening over here. Since morning, these are the first round of vehicles, these goods carriers, which are being allowed, the ones that have a permit over here. And what we can see from here is Bangladesh is just, it's at a stone's throw from us. That is Bangladesh. These trucks are coming. What we can try and have an insight of what's happening inside Bangladesh is we'll speak to them. Bhaiya, कहाँ से?
हम बिहार से सर।
बिहार से। ये गाड़ी कहाँ का है?
गाड़ी कोलकाता का सर।
कहाँ जाएगा?
ये कोलकाता सर।
कोलकाता क्या माल था यार?
इसमें माल था टेलर लेके आए थे सर।
अच्छा, अभी फिलहाल क्या सिचुएशन है
वहाँ अभी तो फिर भी हंगाम हो रहा है ज्यादा अंदर में, और वहाँ जो है से कल मेरे गाड़ी के आगे बम बारूद और तलवारें ले लेके पूरे लोग ऐसे हंसा मचा रहे थे। कल शाम पे बॉर्डर से करीब 1 किलोमीटर अंदर में हम थे। अभी पब्लिक लोग भी हंगाम किया है, बोल रहे बॉर्डर सीज कर दो, बॉर्डर बंद करने के लिए मांग कर रही है।
The crisis in Bangladesh could be a major problem for Indian exporters. Bangladesh was India's 8th largest export partner in the last financial year, and talks for a free trade agreement, which began in October 2023, are in advanced stages. According to World Bank, a deal would eliminate customs duties and push Bangladesh's exports to India by up to 297% and India's exports by 172%. Last year, India exported goods and services worth $11.1 billion against imports of $1.8 billion from Bangladesh. This was a dip from the total trade of $14.2 billion in 2022 to 23. Primarily because of two factors: squeezing the Bangladesh economy First, a dollar shortage which has restricted imports to a large degree, and second, a high inflation which is hovering at around 10%. India's restrictions on the exports of wheat and several varieties of rice have also contributed to the decline. Even as an uneasy calm returned to the restive streets of Dhaka, a day after protest and violence, there are big concerns among small traders and exporters who drive most of the trade between the two nations. Perishable goods worth hundreds of crores of rupees are sitting at the sealed borders. Agri-export basket of over $1.8 billion could face the brunt if trade ties are hit. India has extended $8 billion in credit since 2016 for the development of road, rail, shipping and port infrastructure in Bangladesh, and disruptions could restrict access to the northeast, currently connected through narrow land corridor. The use of Chittagong and Mongla ports also face potential risks. Adani Power has a lot at stake as it supplies nearly 1,500 megawatt power to Bangladesh. FMCG companies like Marico have a high exposure to Bangladesh with 11 to 12% of their business from the country.
As the day proceeds, the movement becomes, it gets limited. What is more important is that the curfew has been, it's removed technically, but how long will it take for normalcy to return in Bangladesh? That is the biggest question of the hour. It's also impacting the trade relations between India and Bangladesh, precisely Bangladesh and Bengal and let's say Assam, because many people, there are traders who just walk in with their visas and passports on both sides, who do daily trading, daily businesses, and then they return. That is also being affected. We spoke to one who usually, every week or in 10 days visits Bangladesh for work in Jashore. Jashore is some 30 kilometers from the place where I'm standing. So that is also being impacted. Question is for how long, and how long will it take for normalcy to return in the country of Bangladesh?
Big global apparel chains like H&M and Zara are facing the brunt of the ongoing protest, violence and political chaos in Bangladesh. Garment industry contributes about 83% of Bangladesh's total export earnings. It's the largest export earner for the country. In 2023, Bangladesh exported $38.4 billion worth of clothes as per World Trade Organization data. H&M sources garments from more than 1,000 Bangladesh factories, while Zara's key manufacturing clusters are based in Bangladesh.
During this ongoing movement, the factories were fully closed for 6 days. We faced huge loss in these days. We lost 228,000 pieces of production and $107,000 in this factory alone.
There are over 40,000 garment factories in Bangladesh making clothes for international brands including M&S, Zara, H&M, Adidas and Nike. Disruptions following the current volatile situations have caused a knock-on effect on global apparel retailers.
During this movement and clashes, our factory was closed and lost a lot of money. We went out of work, sitting idle at home. We were scared. We are poor people depending on daily wage and overtime. If we sit back home, how can we run our families?
Indian textile industry body believes that any supply disruption in Bangladesh will have an immediate impact on the supply chain, potentially affecting production schedules and delivery timelines of Indian textile firms. So does other export good industries.
For the time being, तो ट्रेड हमारा जरूर डिसरप्ट हुआ है. इनफैक्ट डिसरप्शन पिछले 15 दिन से लग रहा था और कुछ हमारे एक्सपोर्ट जरूर इम्पैक्ट हुए हैं, बट पेरिशेबल का एक्सपोर्ट चल रहा था. लेकिन कल से हमने देखा पेरिशेबल एक्सपोर्ट में भी चैलेंजेस आ गए हैं. दूसरी चीज़, क्योंकि इंटरनेट वहाँ बहुत इरेटिक था, तो बैंकिंग ट्रांजैक्शन में भी प्रॉब्लम हुई है.
Such a domino effect on Indian trade and industry is possible because the relation between the two countries are intertwined in its history. From politics to art, culture, music, food and language. In colonial India, Calcutta, today known as Kolkata, was the city ruling Bengal province. Bengal was undivided. The city played a significant role in nurturing young Sheikh Mujibur Rahman to become the man who fought and founded Bangladesh.
Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman came to Kolkata twice. First in 1930s for his treatment, in 1940s for his education in Islamia College of Kolkata, that is known as Maulana Azad College of Kolkata. During his education days, he resided in Baker Hostel of Kolkata, where the political career of Bangabandhu started under the leadership of Suhrawardi.
The rooms where he stayed during his studies in the Baker Hostel of Kolkata has been long turned into a museum. Mujib became a Muslim League Students' Union leader who, following his mentor Hussain Shahid Suhrawardi, joined the movement demanding a united Bengal independent from India and Pakistan in pre-partition days. That was the beginning of Bangladesh, the idea that Rahman could never let go, even after partition.
The movement to get Bangladesh freedom in the basis of language and culture has all started from this hostel itself. Now, this hostel has turned into a museum. A museum, the room number 24 where Bangabandhu has stayed, has turned into a museum for Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. On the other hand, in Bangladesh, the museum of Bangabandhu has been destroyed. The name of Bangabandhu has diminished by the protesters, but in Kolkata, it is intact.
When Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was assassinated on 15th August 1975 coup, his entire family was wiped out except his two daughters, Hasina and Rehana. They survived because they were in West Germany. India gave them shelter.
Sheikh Hasina is back in Delhi for safety after nearly 50 years. Her previous stay began in August 1975 when her father Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and other family members were killed. Later, Sheikh Hasina was offered asylum by India and she lived a very low-profile life here in the national capital, initially at a place in Lajpat Nagar and then here in Pandara Park. Now I'll just show you the vicinity here of Pandara Park, and we've been given to understand that earlier there used to be government flats here meant for government officials, and one of those flats were given to Sheikh Hasina and her family. Now later on, back in 1994, this entire area was demolished to make way for bungalows of Member of Parliament. Now as per the conversation we had with Pranab Mukherjee's son, Abhijit Mukherjee, he recalled that how Mukherjees were frequently used to host Sheikh Hasina and her family members.
Hasina went back as soon as the ban was lifted and became the face of agitation against dictatorship that Bangladesh went through for decades. When she became the Prime Minister, not once but 5 times spread across 3 decades, relation between New Delhi and Dhaka became warmer. When famous author Taslima Nasreen was prosecuted and had fled her country, India was her natural refuge. She still remains in Delhi, leading a life of exile. So does Sheikh Hasina, once again. On 5th August afternoon, after resigning as the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, she landed in Delhi in the evening, and since then has been living in Hindon Air Base in the Indian capital.
Sheikh Hasina continues to be in the safe house of Hindon Air Base in Ghaziabad for the third day while the deliberations go on her further movement. She seeks asylum in UK or Europe, but still nothing is confirmed. The Indian government has been monitoring the situation. She has been provided security here at the Hindon Base, and government will also be arranging her journey to the future destination, but nothing has been clarified as of now. The sources also reveal that undeclared meeting with the top brass of the government also continue with Sheikh Hasina. But the whole situation remains dynamic and fluid.
In Dhaka's upscale Dhanmondi area, walls of the Indira Gandhi Cultural Centre stand severely burned, and the grounds littered with debris. Statues of Indian freedom fighters are missing, and videotapes are piled up among the rubble. It suffered mob fury in the day following Sheikh Hasina's resignation and dissolution of Bangladesh's parliament. The Indian embassy evacuated all its support staff from the violence-hit country on Wednesday morning. Bangladesh prepares for the formation of an interim government under the leadership of Nobel laureate, economist and banker Muhammad Yunus.
Just I'm looking forward to going back home and see what's happening there and how we can organize ourselves to get out of the trouble that we are in. Thank you very much.
When will elections be held, do you know?
Well, I'll go and talk to them. I'm just fresh in this whole area.
A long-time opponent of Sheikh Hasina, Yunus and his interim government is expected to schedule new elections. Next-door neighbour India is watching every development. While in Bangladesh, people are waiting for a calming balm to soothe frayed and bruised scars of days of violence and arson. Sheikh Hasina's party, Awami League, and its leaders have become an eyesore for the people. A mob set fire to a 5-star hotel named Zabir International, in which at least 24 people, including an Indonesian national, were burnt alive, just because it was owned by Awami League Party General Secretary Shaheen Chakladar. India traditionally has enjoyed a warmer relation with Awami League compared to its main opposition, Bangladesh National Party. Fate has now turned sunny for BNP. Its leader, the other Begum of Bangladesh politics, Khaleda Zia, after her release from prison, sent out a message to the nation, promising to uphold democracy. Politics in Bangladesh is going through another testing time. The neighbour is watching. A developing peaceful Bangladesh is the best news for India. A chaotic, violent, turbulent next-door country in its eastern flank is the worst nightmare for Delhi.